Time is 11:55 a.m. Good morning. The news headline: Amajiri'S system fueling banditry, kidnapping in northern Nigeria, CAN. The news in full. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, for Imo State chapter, has said that the rising crisis and cases of banditry and kidnapping, especially in the north, were due to the Amajiri system, which remains an unchecked phenomenon. This was even as the religious body raised concerns over government's foot dragging in cautioning the consistent utterances by popular Islamic cleric Ahmed Gumi, alleged to be promoting banditry in the northern region. Chairman of CAN, Imo State, Reverend Dr. Divine Echis, who spoke ahead of the chapter's 45th anniversary and Founders Day scheduled for today in Owerri, Imo State, he decried that since the government had actually allowed insecurity to continue, that it would actually consume the nation. And according to him, it has become necessary for the government to actually deploy drastic measures to curtail the Almajiri phenomenon, which became a thing of the past in northern Nigeria. He said that you can't have an Amajiri system of life and government in the past 40 years in our nation, bringing up people without any trace to families, hometowns, or nationalities. They are scattered all over the countries and the streets without you knowing that someday they will leave the streets and actually go to the bush, where they will actually begin to execute their trade of kidnapping. And you can't, in a sane nation, have the likes of Gumi, a religious scholar, going about promoting banditry, and you don't think that this will continue, yet that it is what we are seeing today, and we are not seeing anything more than that we have actually planted. And it is expected that so far this cleric had actually been calling for amnesty for them, saying that it is not until the military performs their onslaught action on them that would actually change, that it was because they don't have official or unofficial education, trying to just defend everything that they are doing and saying that what the federal government just needs to do as at now was to just grant them amnesty. And aside that, killing them was actually out of it. And the writer is actually saying that all these sayings by Ahmad Gumi is actually the one that is giving them a whole lot of vibes to continue doing or perpetrating their evil acts. And the likes of Femi Adesina had actually been against Ahmad Gumi for all his utterances, and they have actually said that it is better for the federal government to get him arrested, because all his sayings for quite a while now is demoralizing to the Nigerian military and also a national threat. Where military operations are taking place, military operations against the criminals have already been declared a failure by a religious leader. What a skewed perspective. Perhaps Nigeria should revert to the days when hundreds of millions of dollars meant for weaponry acquisition to combat insurgency, banditry, and other forms of criminality were diverted and distributed to religious leaders for prayers. Rather than mobilizing security forces to combat criminals, resources currently being used to combat insecurity in the country could be allocated to religious leaders to pray for the bandits to return to their senses. Perhaps this is what Sheikh Ahmad Gumi is teaching when he says the government should provide amnesty to bandits in the north. Similar to how the late President Umaru Yar'Adua's administration dealt with Niger Delta insurgents. Anyone who makes this argument is already contributing to Nigeria's national security issue. Nigerians must rise to the task of policing the behavior of so-called leaders, particularly religious clerics. Because they are jaundiced, most of these leaders are hostile to measures aimed at nation building. Aside the religious clerics, there are other types of leaders in the country that hold similar skepticism. Individuals who in their rights as elders have paid their dues to this country have grown vehemently opposed to the government's every decision and action. However, one looks at it, a nation cannot be developed with leaders and elders who hold opinions that are diametrically opposed to national growth. Nigerians cannot face the threat of insecurity, and some politicians are attempting to undermine the government's efforts to root out the criminal forces responsible for all the country woes, including death of citizens. When leaders disregard government efforts against bandits and rebels, they encourage criminals to continue their malicious activities. Nigerians may feel enraged at the government and political leaders. Under no circumstances should anyone take advantage of Nigerians' rage to covertly encourage illegal activity. If the Nigerian nation is to have a shared goal and a strong national bond, these disputes must have certain specified boundaries. And the news analysis is that the governors forum have actually slammed Sheikh Gumi for his threats to national security in their words. We know that just of recent, the media advisor to the presidency, Femi Adesina, just slammed Sheikh Gumi, who happens to be an Islamic cleric who have had access to the bandits to negotiate with them, for peace in the country. And Femi Adesina, after Sheikh Gumi had written during his write-up on Facebook page and some video recordings, where he said that bandits are going nowhere, and Femi Adesina replied in a statement saying that bandits are going somewhere, and the place that they are going to is hell. That despite the way they are doing, causing atrocities and damaging a whole lot of people's life, spoiling a whole lot of properties, making children orphans, making wives widows, making husbands widowers, and yet Sheikh Gumi is seen to be quite on their side, justifying reasons why they are doing so. And this is vehemently a threat to the national security, because it seems more to be a self-serving venture. And Femi Adesina described Sheikh Gumi as bandit lovers. And in the writer's analysis here, condemning that Sheikh Gumi was comparing the Niger Delta insurgents the Niger Delta insurgents to the Fulani herdsmen and the bandits killing. And Lukman is actually telling him that the comparison is out of it, because these Niger Delta militants who were granted amnesty by the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua regime, all arms of the security service have actually been mobilized and are fighting together to smash bandits in the Zamfara, Katsina, and the Kaduna forest. Now, the Nigerian officials have rejected the current military operations against the robbers. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.